Hello everybody and welcome to G.Parkers Arcade Room. Hey, I'm going to do a little video about Retroarch on Steam. Last week on the show, which is on Sunday nights, 6 p.m. Central with myself, Off-Grid Arcade, Mr. Postile, and the Gaming Road Warrior, I was discussing my ROG Ally handheld computer that plays Steam games, Xbox games, and I was looking into putting a front end on it for my retro ROMs for emulation. And I heard that why not run it through Steam on this Retroarch. So I'm not going to do a video per se about the ROG Ally and putting it on here, although you pretty much go through the same steps. There are a few things that I'm working some bugs out on as far as controller issues. But I've got it up and running good, and I'll do a video on that later. But for right now, and I'm on the PC now, and this PC did not have this installed, so it's kind of a raw installation. Now, I have already installed it before shooting this video, but anyway, if you go to the store in Steam, and first I want to disclaim the fact that there are probably better front ends out there. There's probably people that would like a different front end than this. I'm not here to say whether this is better or not, and I'm not saying I'm going to get kind of expert on it. I'm just going to show you what I found and how I did it, and if it works for you, great. And everybody's got different settings and different setups. I'm using an Xbox wired controller, so there you go, if I can see it. But anyway, so here's what I did. I looked for Retroarch in the store, found it, it's free, and I downloaded it. Okay, I installed it, downloaded it. Now, when I go to library, here it is. Okay, now, once you get this installed, here's an important piece of information. They call these cores, they refer to their emulators as cores, and they are DLC for Retroarch. They're free as well. So see, I'm on the Retroarch, getting ready to launch it, but I went over here to this little area right here on the right where it shows the DLC. It says manage my DLC. There's 64 of them. I've already put them in. Some of these, when you first do it, will be checked already for you. Some won't. And the reason is some of them come with the initial install. But what I did was you just click all these blue. Just go down the whole list and click them all. The ones that aren't, click, and then hit install right above them. Wait a few minutes and they'll all show up as installed. Okay, so that's your first part of getting it in. Now you just hit play. That's going to bring it. Now I'm a little hit and miss on this these menus because I just started doing this. But once you do this, and if you're using an Xbox controller, it will start controlling the game. Now there's something else I ought to show you real quick first. I'm going to quit. I'm going to hit quit. Something I want to show you here on when I'm on this Retroarch page. Also, you see this little controller over here. Now, this is the difference between doing it on the PC for me so far and doing it on my ROG Ally. And that is, see, right now it's enabled using Steam Input Translation. If I hit this, it disables it right here. If I hit this, I do not want this disabled here. It works fine on the PC with this controller. Now, if you're using the ROG Ally and you're using it docked and using your controller, you also want that disabled. But if you're playing it in handheld mode and using the built-in controller, you will want that Steam Input disabled. So I'd click that and it'll work fine. That's the main differences I see in what's going on with that. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to leave that enabled. It says click that to disable. It is enabled now. So now let's hit play. And that's how I'm able to control this with the controller. Now if you're using a different controller, you got a different setup. I don't know. I'm just telling you what works for me. So, as you can see, I've already got some games already loaded. And, again, you have to have your own ROMs. But what you do is basically, once you get this installed, you want to go and hit import content. Then you're going to want to scan a directory, or you can scan by file, but I picked scan directory. I went by, mine's on my F drive. Got lots of drives on this system, need lots of space. Go to Retroarch. Then I went down to, see right here, arcade for example. And then if you see at the very bottom right, it shows your controller, and B is back, A is okay, X or Y at the top is search, and X is scan. This is where you would hit scan. I do not want to do it again because it will duplicate them in the menu system. But so put your ROMs in a folder, and again, I used a folder called, let's back up to the parent directory. I used a folder called Retroarch, and then I put arcade ROMs in this folder, Atari 2600 in this folder, Game Boy Advance in this folder, and NES in this folder. Now, what happens is, now when you go back to your main menu, when you first install this, you will not see this 2600, this arcade games, this Game Boy Advance, or NES system. Once you load those, once you import that content, this will start populating. So there you go. That's how you basically get it going. Now again, the thing about the front end is, you know, if you're using CoinOps or some of those other ones, you can pretty much fast search, like hit a button, it'll take you to A's. The ones start with A, B, C, D. This one here, you got to scroll through them all. Of course, once you do, you can save them to favorites, or you can get your history here. I haven't figured out how to put the box art on yet, or do all that stuff. Again, this is just a basic getting to know Retroarch, and that it is available on Steam, and that it is free. Now, a couple of things I want to show you that make things a little easier. Under Setting, go to User Interface. I think this is what I'm wanting here. This is where I get, okay, on-screen display, on-screen overlay. Now, you can pick different overlays, and there's overlay presets. So I picked this Neo RetroPad Clear, and you could go back to the parent directory, and you can see they've got all these different overlays that you can put on, which I'll show you in a minute when I start a game what those overlays are like. And you got to play with them. Different ones work best with different ROMs and different settings, but I got one that works okay for me right now, which is the Neo RetroPad Clear. And again, you can just play with these. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to go to, oh, daggone it. Back out of here. Let's go to Setting. Let's go to Input. This is something else that's kind of important here. And under Input, now I'm sure there's a lot more I can do here. For those of you watching this that know this system, I'm sure I'm not hitting on half the stuff I could be, but I found this easier for me. Under Hotkeys, I went down to Menu, Toggle Control Combo. So when you're playing a game, you want to make sure you can come back to the main menu to stop the game. So what I did is you hit enter, you hit the A button right there, and that takes you to this, and then I chose, there's all your choices. But you can hold start for 2 seconds, and that toggles me back to the main menu. I'll show you that in a minute. And quick controller combo, I chose hold select for 2 seconds. So there you go. That's just a couple other things I did to make it easier, because when I first got into these games, I opened up a game, I thought, well, how do I get out? So, and then quit is the escape key on the keyboard. I do have a keyboard hooked up. But again, you can play with all these, but these were the ones that I thought were the most important to me, is you have to have something set up to get out of the game. Okay, so let's back out of this. And let's just take a quick look at how this looks. Oh, there's one other thing I forgot to talk about. And that is settings, achievements. Now this is kind of cool. Earn achievements in classic games. For more information, go to https://retroarchachievements.org. Now, before you turn this on, you want to go there and set up an account. And when you get the account, then you got to come back in here and set up username and a password that you use there. Now this is kind of cool, because what happens is if you go to this https://retroarchachievements.org and go into that website and log in, it will show you, they have little achievements to accomplish in each game that get you points. Also, you can see other people that are playing. I don't even know if there's a way yet, haven't checked in deep enough to see if there's a way to check on your friends playing or the scores that they posted. So far I haven't got that deep into it, but I think on further investigation, I'm hoping to find out there's a way to track scores, and if it does, it'll be great for our show for these challenges. Because those scores would show up and you could just look them up if we were friends with each other. If everybody used the system, we were friends with each other, we'd be able to see each other's scores and how they're doing. So anyway, that's just a thought. I'm going to have to investigate that more. But it's something worth checking out, because I did set up a profile on there and it is working. So there you go. Let's pick a game. And let's just go to arcade games. And you do have a long way to go to find things. Let's see. You know, the game that is going on this last week, the challenge, was arcade game, and it was Donkey Kong 3. Now this is the only downside. I don't see any way to fast search. Now there is one thing you can do. Let me get down here and let's see if we can find Donkey Kong 3. Donkey Kong 3. Well, you know what? I already left something out that I needed to tell you. Doggone it. We need to go up here. Go to settings. Go to playlist settings. I forgot about this. This is how you associate your ROMs with your cores, which are really your emulators. So you have to go in here and change your setting. Let me see. Manage. I've already messed up. See. Manage your playlist. Okay, so let's pick Atari 2600. Go down here and set your default core. See, I did that. And see, it came up Atari 2600. Hit that, and that associated all those in this folder, Atari 2600, with that core. That's what they call it, versus it being called an emulator. Okay, arcade games. Go here, default core. Well, I picked this Arcade Final Burn NEO. That's working for this. Nintendo Game Boy Advance. I picked Game Boy Advance GPSP. There's also Game Boy Advance NGBA. So I guess you could check, and if they didn't work, you could just go down to the next one on the list. But so far, everything on the first line has worked for me. So that is something that I needed to tell you need to do. You go into playlists, settings, playlists, manage playlists, and there's where you can enter that. And there's all kinds of primary thumbnail. That's the other stuff that I need to figure out on here. So with that being said, let's again go back to arcade games. Now I got to go through this listing. Oh, no, I don't. Donkey Kong USA. Hit enter. Now I can hit run, but see, I can go here and add to favorites. Now see, if I back out of here, go over here and go over to favorites. First it shows history, but then there's the favorites. Donkey Kong 3. Hit run. There we go. There's my overlay, which is those bezels on the side. You can see my select button. Gives me a credit. My start button starts the game. Now, if you're in the middle of the game or anywhere in the game and you hit that start button and hold it for 2 seconds, it brings you back here. You can resume, restart, close content. I hit close content. Takes you right back there. Your B button goes back. You can go back over here to this menu, or you can go down here and hit Galaga and hit run it. It'll start it, and there you go. So there's Retroarch on Steam. Just a quick tutorial, so to speak, on how to get it up and running. Because when I first downloaded it, I thought, okay, now what do I do with it? I mean, I got enough information to know to download it and to download the DLC, which is the cores, which are emulators now, I found out. And I did see how to load the stuff. But then, you know, it just was kind of confusing to me. I had to do a lot of research each time to figure it out. So I hope this helps. I hope you, if you maybe you're already happy with what you got, and that's fine. But I'm playing with this. It looks like it's going to be fun, and can launch it right from Steam. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one. We'll see you next time on G.Parkers Arcade Room. Bye now.